Hey everybody, it's your man DJ Superjam, and this is DJ League Talks. And today we got a special guest here. This is an MC that is placed on Billboard several times. Uh, Amazing rap style, rap skills. He goes by the name of Homiletix. So just want to introduce you. You say a little bit something about yourself, so say hi to the folks and everything. And glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you bringing me on here. I want to give a big shout out to the DJ League for allowing me this opportunity to come on. But my name is Homiletix, and my given name, government name is Travis Grace. I've been in the music industry a while. Even throughout my military career, I was back and forth doing things. Man, I've been off into music since I've been, man, probably 5 years old. I grew up in a musical family, so the environment and the community that I grew up in back home in Florida allowed me to just grow up listening to different sounds, different cultures, seeing different things. And I think I told you all before that this is my upbringing in music and the different cultures and surroundings was how I come to perceive music now by just hearing the different sounds and different cultures. And then you could probably hear that also within my production work, the lyrics and different things that I've seen throughout my course of life. So yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell, you know.
Yeah, very, very cool. So you're originally from Florida, and
Yeah.
are you still located in Florida?
Yeah, I'm not based in my hometown. My hometown is Ocala, Florida, but I live in a disclosed location. But yeah, I travel between Florida. We have two residents that we travel to. But right now, this time, yeah, I am in Florida this time.
Okay, all right. So I've been listening to some of the tracks, and you got really, really dope tracks. It's like the samples that are being used, the melodies and so on. It's just it's got a lot of a old school vibe on some of the songs, uh,
Yeah.
which is really, really dope, and that's something that's definitely needed nowadays. Uh, the track that we have on DJ League, what is that? The Sandchild featuring Homiletic.
Yeah, same time, of course.
All right,
Yeah,
F
yeah,
around and find out,
right. Yeah,
just in case they want to keep it clean for the radio stations and so on. But
yeah, yeah,
the thing about that song is it had a 100% approval rating.
yeah,
Rarely
yeah,
do we ever have that at DJ
yeah.
League. Rarely does every DJ just and I did also. As soon as I heard the scratches come in the beginning of the
Oh
beat,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me just give you a little background on that track, but how I actually met Sandchild. So I met her because about a year ago, I was making my exit out of the music industry. I've had enough, and I was like, okay, that's it. But let me just give them one more track before I exit. So I started working on a track that was called "The Process,"
Mhm.
and my manager heard it, and my manager walked in and said, "Who is that?" I was like, "Me, man. I'm sitting there making this and playing around with different things, different instruments." And the next day, I went and added my vocals to it, the 16 bars. She came back and she heard it, and she was like, "That track need a female on it, a female MC, but she have to be dope." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, well, who do we get now within the rap and hip hop landscape?" So she put out a message, and we were looking for the dopest female MC that we could find,
Mhm.
and we would send the beat to them. We done that to over 100 artists.
Wow.
They each one send it back in. We sit down and listen. When I got to maybe 75, I heard Sandchild on that track. After I finished my verse,
Mhm.
I instantly knew then what I had. So they contacted her. We just started chatting, and and that set up the relationship with me and her because I was like, if a female could come on here and mimic what I'm saying, but she's telling me her story, that's all I needed to hear. All right, so that was that. So after I began to exit the industry, me and her started talking, and she said she said just hang around a while, just hang around because I want to do something, and that's how we came up with F around and find out. Me and her sat down, and we came to agreement that I will help her on her first biggest project. And so the production you hear is that's all me, 100% production. The vocals is her, the concepts is me and her sitting down. And man, we must have done probably, I don't know, 10 songs, but the fourth that's on the EP was the one that we felt that really caught the essence of what hip hop, throwback hip hop really was when back in hip hop's heyday. So
Yes.
yeah, big things, man, big shout out to her because man, you're talking about a phenomenal talent. Like you just don't meet females that young these days that
Hmm.
have that mindset
Yeah.
because me and her age groups are decades apart.
Right.
But I've never, like, since I've known her, she has never done anything crazy. Like whatever I take to her and say, that's it. And she'll come back with whatever I ask. And that's all I ever asked from artists was listen to somebody that's already been there before instead of us going out and left and right field. Let's just get it done and see what happens. So yeah, so that's great news, man. DJ League, 100% because I know how hard that is to,
Yeah.
I tested tracks with the DJ League before. I
Yeah.
tested them. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, and it's really cool to hear that, because a lot of the young artists they look at older art. I've been DJing also. This is my 50th year. This is just insane,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So you have DJs that are in their 50s, 60s, and so on, producers, artists, and everything. And you have a lot of the young cats. They're like, no, we don't like that old stuff, which was different. I remember when I was coming up, I would have a lot of songs that I would listen to that my dad listened to, and it's a difference now where it's not like that for the most part. So when you find somebody that really embraces the past and learns from it and really does it, that's some amazing stuff
Yeah,
right
I think that the younger artists, DJs, producers, they have to understand that in order for you to be great at whatever your craft is, I don't care if you're producing, you need to know everything.
there.
You
Your
you can't
history.
just know this one lane. Okay, I'm doing hip hop, I'm doing just trap music, I'm doing R&B. No, me, Homiletix, I produce whatever I can. I don't, practicing country and western. I don't care if it's trap music. I practice hip hop. R&B because I've had a chance to work with artists across a wide spectrum. So I never want to encounter an artist that approaches me and then I can't help them get to where they need to be. But my lane is hip hop. That is totally what I'm into is hip hop, real hip hop.
What inspired you to get started in music business?
Man, basically, I would say family. My parents, man, growing up, man, my parents was into music. My dad was a big music curator, man. Back in the probably '60s, like he had one of the extensive record collections in the world. And I'm not just saying that, but I'm talking about artists stopping by to sit down with him to hear his collection. And I grew up as a little boy sitting down with him and listening to music
Mm,
and just music that did not affect me then until I got older and I started thinking back and then just looking back on what he had put off into me into music was astronomical. And you could still hear it's crazy because pops is going on and man, but the music, like I produce music because of him. Like, so I dedicate my music success to him.
that's
But every time I sit down and make something, it's always spiritual to me because I can hear him in the music.
wow. That's beautiful, bro. What's your biggest accomplishment as a rapper or as a producer that you
Well,
can?
I wouldn't necessarily say like plaques and stuff like that because I really don't look at. I've had opportunity to be on different compilations. I had a project that go myself to number 5 on iTunes. This was a while back, and I remember seeing these other popular artists or just popular artists that I was running up against, and to see it go up to number 5, and it just randomly, like sporadically stopped for some reason. I don't know why, but I never equate success to plaques or either collaborations. Success to me is just being able to help out people and pour back into people. Just like now I'm pouring back into Sandchild, but I have another artist that's coming up in the rear behind her. So my thing is being able to give back because I have a life besides music, and that's what people don't understand about me. Like I was already successful doing what I was doing. Besides this, I've had the opportunity to teach school from kindergarten to 12th grade. I've had an opportunity to be a college professor. I have a doctoral degree. So even if I didn't have the music, I would still be who I am.
Yeah.
The music is an addict for me, but thank God that God gave it to me. So yeah, it's not about just the music. I live a full life, so nothing about me is fake. I'm not inflating something. I don't have to go rent out the cars to do videos, stuff like that. I've always been who the Most High wanted me to be, so I don't have to do all that stuff. I'm very secure and very comfortable with who I am.
Oh, dope, dope. So, what's some of the artists that influenced you, or artists that you like maybe model yourself after, or just anybody that really touched you, where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is my what were you listening to when you were young? Young
Oh,
girl,
younger.
young girl, young girl. At the
Yeah, man.
beginning.
I mean, man, there's a whole array of artists that I've listened to. Let me just tell this story because this kind of blew my mind too. Like the first time that me and my count we came over to London several years ago, before 2020, I think back in 2017. And when we got over there, I was in search of one of London's biggest R&B artists. All right, and so when we speak of influence, like nothing happened there. I had people putting the word out, trying to find out how do I get in contact with a certain person. And as a lot of people know, on one of my collaborations, I had a chance to collaborate with Carl McIntosh and Loose Ends. So everybody knows Loose Ends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Growing up with me, like I grew up listening to music that was older than that. But when I heard that particular sound, even back in the 80s, that was a sound that shaped my whole production career. And that was a discussion that I had with Carl. I was like, man, to me, that was my dream collaboration. And I have collaborated with several popular artists. But that particular collaboration right there was when I was like, okay, I pretty much achieved whatever I thought that I could achieve. I'm good. So and probably can do more, but it was just that one, just being able to get Loose Ends on the track with me and work with Carl McIntosh. That was the apex of what I wanted to achieve. Because I thought that would never happen.
Wow, I believe that. That's crazy. That was back in the acid jazz times and everything. All the stuff coming out of London. Nice.
Yeah. And I've always been big into the London scene as far as like Soul to Soul and Loose Ends and those different guys. But growing up over here, I always was into the older artists before that, man. I know that we had groups over here in the 80s, but I was always privy to listen to the older artists than that, 60s and 70s because of my dad.
Yeah.
But that strictly blew my mind, man. And then the track came out exactly the way that we wanted it to come out.
Wow, that's cool. Definitely dope. So I hear like on a lot of your tracks, I hear scratching on there. Are these different DJs? Do you have a DJ?
Yeah,
How is that?
I work in a network of a group that's called the Neo Soul Revolutionaries, and there's about 12 of us globally. And so when a lot of tracks, when we start producing tracks, different producers add different sounds to the track once we snap the track, and then everything will come back to me. So it's like a collective. And
Okay.
and it's okay, yeah, and that's not done a lot. So if one hears scratching, then they'll pull a DJ from their area to do different scratching and stuff like that. So that's what happened. Even on the Sandchild project, I knew that I wanted that sound. I knew I wanted that. I wanted particular scratching on there, and that's what I had a DJ within our network to do.
Very cool. So I see there's a lot more producing that you do than what I was aware of. Uh, like,
Oh man, yeah.
what advice can you give to up and coming producers?
Be yourself and try to create your own lane. I know that everybody have a particular sound that they like, and everybody have favorite producers and artists that they want to try to emulate or they want to try to sound like and hope that they could maybe reach out to artists like that too. But my thing is be original, create your own sound. Nothing that you hear will probably be original, but you have to find your own lane and your own niche. You know what I'm saying? You might hear a Homiletix produced track, but 9 times out of 10, people that I know, like when they hear a track from me, it could be 5 tracks on before that. Whenever my track come on, they say, that's you. They already know. So you have to find your lane, find your niche, and find your own sound. Right. That's the biggest advice that I can give.
That's good advice.
Be original and be yourself. Stop trying to be somebody else. Nobody can beat you at being you, I promise you.
It is hard though. A lot of people, they take the easy route. It's like, yo, that you really have to be very daring to do that, you know, to really go and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it my way and so on, you know. But it's definitely sound advice. It's you know, and that's the whole thing. This recording is going to go out to a lot of different radio stations. A lot of different people around the world are going to hear this and see this, and this is going to be good. Like, let me see. What was there? Artist. Can you describe your creative process when you're producing a song? Like, how do you get started?
I work on and this is crazy. A lot of tracks that I hear. I mean, a lot of concepts that I have as far as producing a track. I hear it in my head first before artists even hear it. I hear it in my head. A lot of times, whenever I sit down and start working, whether it's with instruments or working with a different producer, or I'm trying to find something, is the hardest thing is finding what's in your head, and that's with any producer. Mm. So my thing is, the process is for me to think it or either hear it in my head and try to emulate what I hear. 9 times out of 10, I never get back to the sound that's in my head whenever I start producing. 9 times out of 10, most stuff that I produce is not a hit. It's always that 1%. Like, for instance, you go right back to Same Child. We done 4 awesome tracks. But when I heard the track, F Around and Find Out, I instantly know, like me, I instantly know whenever I'm producing a hit. And that's why I don't give my tracks to everybody. Like, once I finish them, I'm always looking for a particular artist that fit that track. Like, I've been offered money to produce certain artists. I've been offered money to sell certain tracks, and I got over 5,000 tracks inside of my computer. I just don't give them away. Yeah. So it has to be a certain vibe, and I have to be able to have a feel for that artist. And so that's my complete process, is trying to emulate something that's in my head. So the first time that I sit down and start creating something, it might start with a flute, or it might start with a drum kit, bass, like boom, boom, and that's all I heard in my head. And it's not until I start playing or start sampling something that go on top of that until I know what I'm doing. So my thought process in my head never gives me the finished product. That's what I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. I don't know I'm finished until I'm finished. And that's strange for a lot of producers. A lot of producers sample, so they already know basically what they're getting from the beginning. My process is almost backwards.
So you don't ever like get inspired by hearing a loop or hearing or doing something like that?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Certain loops set me on fire, certain samples, and when I hear them, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use that. But what I try to do with that is I try to digress and take as less from that sample as I can to make it more about what I'm doing. See what I'm saying? So I try to back out of the sample.
Yeah.
Or even if I can have somebody to come in to play a particular part, it could be a piano or a bass line. I'd rather take that route for the originality, because people automatically know what that sample is anyway in the background when they hear it. So it don't have to necessarily be the sample. It just need to be something that sounds similar to the sample.
Yeah. and have someone play it or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was just talking to a singer I was working with today about the same thing. Like, yeah, we need to put
Yeah.
some piano in here, get somebody in here. And that's the cool thing to be able to get ideas like that and
Yeah.
from a sample and be like, okay, this is how I would take it. I would do it like this, or I would use this or that. I mean, now, like the way technology is now, it's super crazy right now. You can
Oh
split
yeah.
up
Oh,
every
yeah.
sound. You can
But
split up.
but but from top to bottom with me, and I always say this. I'm gonna say this real quick. From top to bottom, when you hear me, like when you see me on tracks, even with popular artists, I have produced that track from top to bottom.
Okay.
That artist came in and said, "Oh hell yeah, we gonna do that one." You see what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm backing out and I'm getting anyone. I'm not like a lot of producers because my studio is in my house. So I don't let a lot of people in my house. So you got to think that a lot of stuff that I do is 100% me. I do everything myself because I know it's in my head. So I don't want somebody else to come along and then change that idea.
So, how do you think the rap scene has evolved since you started?
Oh man, over decade, the rap scene have taken off. It have elevated. But I think that because of the elevation of the rap scene, the true hip hoppers somehow have they didn't necessarily get lost in the man in the landscape, but because of the changing times, I think that somehow the community have somehow just totally pushed the hip hoppers to the side. Because I always tell people, for me, there's a difference between hip hop and rap. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I am authentic. I am authentic hip hop. I'm authentic hip hop. That's why I don't do what the kids do these days. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against what they're doing, but it's just not my lane. It's just something that I just don't care to be a part of. I don't want to produce that. I don't want to be a part of it, man. I'm a grown man. So there's certain things that I'm gonna do. But I think yes, the game have elevated. But right now in music, I thank God because there is a rise of the old school artists that's coming back. The old school hip hop artists never left. I mean, this is one of the only genres where we have to separate and put the old over here, the new over here. No, hip hop never left. Hip hop has always been there. It's always been alive and strong. So now it's finally getting back to where we want it to be at.
Yeah, it's definitely changing now. Uh, and like real hip hop is coming back, and that's a good
Yeah,
thing. That's definitely a
yeah,
good thing. Uh, so you are a four-time Billboard charting artist, like
yes. The producer. Just when I
as
was,
producer.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. That's how my plats come about because I was working with different labels, working on different projects with them, uh, and was fortunate to be able to attach tracks to different projects, different compilations, and then that's when I went out and I done my own project. My own first project was Foreign Affairs, and it was entitled Foreign Affairs, and I took London MCs and took several MCs stateside, and I merged them together, and I done a project that was called Foreign Affairs, and that was the project I told you that went to number 5 on our iTunes, and it just sporadically
that's what that
stopped.
was.
I don't know why it stopped, but anyway, that was for me. When you say the proudest moment, I think that was one of my proudest moments because I looked up and I started looking at the charts and I saw that and I saw these super popular artists beside. I'm like, oh hell, I'm running right there beside them. So that right there changed the narrative that my whole perspective of what I was thinking about what I could achieve in music. And yeah, for me, that was probably the biggest moment and a turning point for what I was doing and what I was trying to achieve.
Nice. How do you see the future of music evolving?
Oh man, from here. I think that it can only get crazier because, and I say that because now you have the AI, the rise of AI. So I think that sky's the limit as far as the sound and what they're getting out of music, and that's not necessarily good for artists, because even when you start dealing with AI, for me it seemed like you're dealing with artist replacement. So my thing is, yeah, can something sound better? Yeah, it probably can. Can it rise? Can it go further? Can it reach more people? Yeah, probably, but it can only go so high if you don't have the human element involved in it.
Yeah, I noticed something. So I work a bit with it also. And I had registered a song, and in the registration form, it said, "Is this song
Yeah.
completely done in AI?" So they
Yes.
let you use AI when you register a song. You're
Yes.
allowed to, but it can't be 100% AI, you know.
Right.
So and I mean, I still think of it as a progression of the music and so on. It's just like when the samplers came out, artists like musicians were against them. They're like, oh man, don't they weren't supporting it at all. They fought against them and everything, like they were gonna, even like
Yeah.
keyboards with triggers and so on, playing the different sounds is all that, hey, now you don't need a
Yeah.
horn player, sax player, because you get the sax right there, your
Exactly.
fingers.
Exactly.
And if you don't know how to
Yeah.
play, you can slow it down and play slowly. And you know what I mean? It just,
Mhm.
but it's just, this is another progression. And of course, you do have people that are just taking advantage of it and just prompting stuff, throwing it out there. And I don't agree with that either. But
When you can't ask time to stand still. You
yeah,
understand me? In music, you can't ask music to stand still and not elevate it. I mean, just because Homiletix is producing something, don't mean that it can't be done better. Don't mean that it can't be elevated. It's always be a way to make it better. But to be honest, it's nothing like class classic music,
yeah,
classic hip hop, classic R&B. You will never be able to replace that sound because it's soul music. It's soul. AI is soulless.
yeah,
It's a difference.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So, is there any future projects that you have that you want to talk about?
Um, yeah, I definitely behind the Sandchild project. I'm working with an artist now from Texas. It's a guy named OG Auto, and we're currently in the studio now, working on an EP for him. We're actually laying out the concepts, the beats, and stuff like that. But beyond that, I want to talk a little bit about things that we've created to actually help artists. And so I have a partnership. With a few investors, and we started because it was hard for us or me as an artist. It was always hard to actually land things like have a landing spot for videos, have a landing spot for music. So I learned by being around labels and looking at labels, and I was looking at things when they didn't think I was looking at it. So I've learned by failing. So one of the things that we went out and started was we started, and I always mention this, we started 18th Ave Media Group. And 18th Ave is the street that I grew up on back in Ocala, Florida. So we started, me and two other partners, investors, we started 18th Ave Media Group. And 18th Ave Media Group is a 100 channel system on Roku television, Apple television, and Amazon.
Mhm.
And we started this for pennies on the dollar because I remember we're offering it for pennies on the dollar for artists, record labels, artists that normally would never get an opportunity to land their videos across television. And the reason that I wanted to start this was because when I was trying to land stuff, I was paying people to do stuff, and the money never went to what I was paying them to do.
Mhm.
So there it is. So the biggest idea that I had was, hey, why don't I start a 100 channel system that could reach 120 countries globally? We will reach where you are sitting right now. But
Mhm.
when people hear this, particularly artists or record labels, they're like, that ain't true. Well, here's the link, click on it. So years ago, when I first tried to build a channel, somebody charged me an astronomical amount of money to do it, and I knew for sure that it did not take that much to start a channel. So after doing my research, coming back and circling back around, I found a system and investors that was willing to help me set up a 100-channel system. It's 18th Ave Media Group. You can actually pull it up online. So any artists, company, businesses, DJs, we have different channels. I think there were 20 channels in right now. So for instance, even if the DJ League will want a channel on there, they got a channel. You can separate it and get your own personal channel. And your channel don't necessarily have to be about music, because it's not a music lineup. This is for whatever you have content for, as long as it's in the parameters of you're not doing anything crazy across the airways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just one thing that we offer, man. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff. Everything that we do is in-house with us. Even with our artists, we do everything in-house.
Nice. That sounds really good. So we're gonna have to look into that about getting on there.
Pennies on the dollar. And I think that when I say that, I think that they to scare people, or they're like, that's not true. And I'm like, why isn't it true? Because if you don't do it with me, you're gonna go pay for it. Way more than what I'm giving. So we started a 100-channel system, but we're trying to grow it to a 1,000-channel system. You can't do it until you reach 100. And so the thing is, we are basically giving it to you for a small fee. We are leasing these channels for a small fee. There is nothing more powerful than television.
Right, that's true. So one thing I had seen, it said coming soon, Bending Corners.
Oh yeah. That's you probably got maybe a promo from that, but
yeah,
I still do. I have a mobile podcast that and I have a mobile podcast that's called Bending Corners with Homiletix. And the podcast consists of me driving one of my cars and I'm interviewing the person and their product or the artist or whatever, DJ, whoever it is, they're sitting there. And we are driving through a city or town and just sitting there talking, doing that. Now I see a lot of podcasts popping up. A lot of people are rapping and singing from cars on different videos, platforms. I've done this almost 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
I've done this, but they won't give me my credit for being the innovator. But I can almost tell you how most of them saw that and started their podcast. But yeah, it's Bending Corners with Homiletix. I don't have a chance to do it a lot because I'm dealing with the music, the television, the clothing line as well. So every now and then somebody will call me and say, man, can we come on your podcast? Sure. You know, what our city are you in? Are you able to make it here or whatever? And then we can fly them in or either room them or do whatever, bring them on the podcast for 30 minutes. I also want to mention the clothing line because I am the CEO of Tribe Life Studios Worldwide. We have our own clothing line. This isn't just a regular clothing line. This is a real clothing line with real distributors. And I also have, so you can go to www.tribelifeclothingbrand.com. And then you can see the products on there. And also I have my own signature shoe of real shoes, like not just something that you buy and put your name on. No, these are real Italian cut made shoes that are made in Italy. So you have a Tribe Life signature series, Travis S. Grayson. I stamped that with my signature. So you can find all this online. If you just pull up Homiletix and pull up my name and then Homiletix and Tribe Life, everything about me should pop up.
Okay, we make sure to put some links on the video when we put it out there. So one more question before we wrap it up. Can you tell me anything about your experience with DJ League?
Man, I love the DJs League, honestly. First of all, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't collab with a lot of people. I purposely. I'm not into. You gotta think, man. I'm old school military, and then because of the way I was raised, I've always been a loner. I've always been a loner. I might have friends, but I'm a loner at heart. Mm-hmm. And so for me to bring somebody into my circle of what I'm doing, and for me to stamp anything, they have to be doing something similar to what I'm doing. So that have basically been my experience with the DJ League is honesty. Like if you can't be honest with me and then you just wanting money for something and you don't know. I mean, you can go do that somewhere else. And so my thing is I'm out here helping artists, I'm out here helping people, and that's what the DJ League is doing. They are helping the artists, they are helping DJs, and man, just keep doing that. That's my thing to the DJ League. Just keep being honest and keep helping people. Don't worry about the growth and being the best and being the biggest. I have no concerns with that. I'm very secure. And so I just appreciate the DJ League even giving me the opportunity to just be a part of what they're doing, man. So kudos. Big shout out to the DJ League.
Well, we're glad to have you on board. It's a thing. We want to stay true to everything.
Yeah.
We're not trying to we don't buy likes. We don't buy fake profiles and everything. If you look on our website and you look at the map of the world and you see all the different countries and you see the little dots on there, you click on any one of those dots, the DJ pops up. And all of our DJs, they have to have flyers, they have to have websites, they have to have their socials. All that stuff is right there. So it's not like, oh yeah, we got 500 DJs in it. No. But we are close to 300 DJs worldwide now, as well as 25 radio. Yeah, 25 radio stations, and we're just steady building everything. And glad to have you on board. Thank you for coming through today. This has been a really, really good interview. A lot of knowledge, a lot of information for us.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you guys. Anytime you need me, you all know how to connect with me. I'm just a phone call away.
Yeah, well, definitely appreciate that. And we'll be looking out for the next things that you're gonna be dropping on us, and we will be pushing them as always and everything.
Definitely.
So, all right then, we'll get up. All right then. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on DJ League.
Thank you. Bye-bye.